today in Rich in Relationship. We're going to talk about gray divorce. When the kids go to school, the parents just give up. Suddenly, you find out that the only thing you really had in common after all those years was the kids. And it didn't start out that way, did it? We are good at being there for our kids, but our relationship has no more focus. The focus or purpose of the relationship is the children. Welcome to another episode of Rich in Relationship. And I'm your host, Richheller. And today's episode is called When the Kids Leave, So Does the Marriage, or Preventing the Post-Success Collapse. And if you've been listening to this series, you know we've been talking about what is success, number one. And what we've been pointing out is that a lot of couples frame success in kind of a worldly, material way, because it's what we're all taught. I mean, we're all taught. You grow up, you get a job, you live well. It's the American way. And what we're encouraging people to do is to expand their sense of what does it mean to live well. How to be not only rich in bank accounts, but rich in relationship. The kids are in college, the house is quiet, and I suddenly realize I don't know my husband anymore. We did everything right. So why does it feel like we're so distant from each other now? This is from Lisa. She's 52. And Lisa, this is super common. There's a movement, particularly in boomers, called gray divorce. And gray divorce is when you get a little gray, your kids leave the nest. Suddenly, you find out that the only thing you really had in common after all those years was the kids. And it didn't start out that way, did it? But somehow it ended that way. And this episode is really about, first, how does that happen? And second, how can you prevent it? And I'm going to share with you that 8 years ago or 9 years ago, whatever it was, when I first had a major life change and sold my business and took my master's in social work and launched into this work, I started looking at my own marriage. And we were a few years out from being empty nesters. And I realized that if I didn't start doing the legwork on my side, maybe she'd be leaving me when the kids moved out. All right, so the post-success collapse, when our shared purpose is limited to our individual success in our workplaces or our lives. Workplaces here, just so you know, is not necessarily a place where you derive income. Workplace might be managing the home. Workplace might be, you might be financially secure, and maybe your work is charity work, or maybe you just like to crochet. I don't know, whatever it is. So here we are. Our shared purpose is growing in our individual pursuits, let's call them, just to throw out the conversation of workplace. Our individual pursuits, whether it be a career or something else. And the only thing that we individually focus on besides our own individual self-care, needs, etc., are what we need to do, want to do in order to support our kids. And we are good at supporting our kids. We are good at being there for our kids. She steps out, I'm there. I step out, she's there. We have family events to support our kids. When our kids have trouble in school, we show up, one of us, sometimes both of us. But our relationship has no more focus. The focus or purpose of the relationship is the children. And when that happens, the real emotional bond starts to become weak. It starts to become frayed, right? And I'm just going to go back to the gray divorce thing. When kids go off to school and couples are in their 50s and they haven't been nurturing their vision beyond the stage of children, it can feel incredibly challenging. And if you haven't been building regular, caring communication is what we call it, but caring is almost a misnomer, affectionate, invested in the other person's well-being, truly invested in the other person's well-being, asking them to help you. If you haven't been having conversations like that, asking them, hey, you know what? Meredith, it's my youngest daughter, is going to be 18 soon. She's going to go to college. What are we going to do? We're going to have this whole big house to ourselves. If you don't have that conversation, suddenly it lands on you and you're just like, whoa. And then you look over and you haven't been nurturing the vision. You haven't been nurturing the relationship. You haven't been caring for them and they haven't really been caring for you. You've only been caring for the children together. And you look at each other, you go, who are you? You're not the person I married. Well, I got a newsflash for you folks. No matter where you are in the marriage, they are never the person that you married in this sense. When we walk into marriage and we take on a commitment, we change. Our essence doesn't change. Our spirit doesn't change, but our behavior changes because we've taken on a huge commitment. And in taking on that commitment, we've hopefully let go of a lot of things. If we don't let go of a lot of things, it can be really challenging. That commitment changes us. And I swear I'm going to write this book. There's a book about what marriages really do. What marriages really do is they meander because one person changes and pulls this way and the other person changes and pulls that way. And when they're working together, they pull each other a lot like American politics. They swing back and forth. But when they're out of sync, one person pulls this way and the other person pulls that way, and there's a huge gap, a lot like American politics. And when your gap is this big, you haven't been meandering together, growing together, changing and evolving together, you can be really wide apart when that last child goes to college, and it's a shock. Now, when you meander together, that's still not the person you married, but they are, but they're not. So here's a contradiction. The contradiction is that point when you were in love and you got married, there is a you and a them that is frozen identity-wise within them. That person is always in there. And when we grow apart and the kids go to college, that person who's frozen in there, set of beliefs and emotions and commitments that what you stepped in and said, I do with, looks at the gap and says, wow, I did not sign up for this. What I signed up for was this, right? So the trick is to meander together. And when we're focused on material wealth and when we're focused on the success of the kids and our personal individual success without any cross-pollination, those kids go to college and it's like, oh my God, there's this huge chasm between us. And many couples don't realize that even though their relationship is super functional, they're getting stuff done. They're paying the bills. They're taking vacations. They're showing up for the kids. They're not fulfilled in the relationship. They're fulfilled in their experience of their children together. They're fulfilled in that, but they're not fulfilled in their relationship anymore. But they don't know it because as long as we have some sense of fulfillment, we kind of go, oh, well, maybe that other stuff will get taken care of. If we don't approach this consciously and intentionally, it can get really ugly. Emotional distance becomes masked by busyness. And then the kids go to school and all of a sudden it's painfully visible. There's like the silence in the house. The kids are gone. What are we going to focus on? And the long-term impact of living this way is an actual loss of our own identity in the marriage. We may even lose a sense of our own personal identity. It may be that a lot of gray divorce, I think what happens with gray divorce is people go, all right, I'm going to start over. This is my new adolescence. I've completed this chapter of my life, and now I'm going to live for me, right? But you can do that married. The crazy thing is, you can do all that married. The kids can launch, and the two of you can reinvent yourselves right there in the marriage. You can have that experience in the marriage. And it involves trusting that somewhere in there is that person that you married, even though they're completely different and altered. It's what do they call it? A duality. Brad and Gwen had weathered 2 decades of life together, careers, kids, a mortgage, some rough patches, right? That's part of the territory. kids getting arrested for graffiti, that kind of thing. Stuff happens, right? But they also had a lot of successes, captains of the football team, that kind of thing. They had rock solid routines. That's what kept the fabric of their care for the children together. And they were both totally bought into child-centered routines. Brad filled his time with work and hobbies, and Gwen said, "We have the life we always wanted." She also worked and was involved in charities. But she said, a lot like Lisa, "I feel alone. What now?" Brad admitted he didn't know what to do. He's like, "We're super parents. Why can't we get along? What happened here?" Brad's like utterly confused. And their story, it echoes literally millions of couples that you see online. You see this all the time. Bittersweet reels of how the empty nest feels. Women rediscovering themselves after decades of caregiving. Sometimes fathers rediscovering themselves after decades of caregiving. Men also wondering where the connection went, and women feeling no sense of connection at all, and totally, it's got to be him. And by the way, guys, it is you, because it's your job to make her feel safe so that she trusts you, so that there's vulnerability and connection. And we are not very good at that, guys, but we can be. Brad was not very good at that. The quiet of having those kids go to college revealed the truth that their marriage hadn't evolved. It had eroded. What happened? Stay tuned. I'll let you know. So Joe says, "We've built a good life, but it feels like we've run out of things to share. How do we start over when everything looks fine and yet I feel kind of empty?" Well, life is all about stages. And for some reason, we as a culture, I think because we diminish aging, have failed to look at what happens when the nest is empty. And the fact is, there are more stages that you can tackle as a couple. The next stage, once the kids get through college, is, guess what? One of them, maybe two of them, maybe three of them, I don't know how many have, is probably going to have kids. And then you have a new stage together as grandparents. But there's something else going on there. Many of us have older parents. I myself am at the stage where my kids have had kids, but we still have these older parents. And part of our mission with these older parents, as they become cognitively less functional and more physically fragile, is to be there for them the way they were here for us. So I'm telling you, instead of getting divorced, the two of you could just focus on grandchildren and your parents. You could do that, but don't just do that, because there's this opportunity to reinvent yourself. And a lot of people think when they're in their 50s and 60s, they can't reinvent themselves. "Oh, I'm so old. Oh, yeah, it's time for me to retire and be set aside." But I'm telling you, every transition is an opportunity to reinvent yourself. And this thing of "I'm old," throw that out. Not that you're not relative to other people, but the truth is, from our perspective, we are aging, we are maturing like a fine wine, or whatever you want to say. The trick is to not turn into vinegar. And in order to do that, we need to stay engaged. We need to stay passionate. I myself, at how old was I? 58, 57, 58, sold a business and totally changed my career and our lives. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Reinvented myself and have an active, passionate vision for this new life with my same wife. Only she's a new wife in a lot of ways too, because she's changed and grown. Because I got to know her over the last 8 years. I was like, wow, she's a very powerful and intelligent human being, way beyond what I had realized when I married her. When I married her, I just thought she was gorgeous and fun to be with. Because, we're a little thin-skinned, a little thick-headed, not deep thinkers sometimes. But my wife is an amazingly caring and intelligent human being, an accomplished human being. And you can go that route wherever you are in your marriage. If you're an empty nester listening to this, there's still hope. If you're moving towards being an empty nester, it's time to rebuild. There's still hope. Healthy couples can treat the empty nest as a renaissance, not a crisis, a renaissance. The renaissance was an explosion of new thought and creativity. We are creative beings. We have been given the gift of creation by the Creator, created in His image. We are given the gift of creation. And if you haven't brought your creativity to life, this is the time. And everything is creation. I'm creating right now as I speak to you. When I make dinner, I'm creating. When I go to the bathroom, I'm creating. The question is, what's the feeling behind it, right? Perfecting our creation isn't about how we do it. It's the place we come from when we're doing it. It's also about technique and style, but style and technique are so influenced by how we're being. The core steps to building reconnection is first, you got to stop just managing the house. You did a great job doing that, some of you. Some of you didn't even do such a great job with that, I'm going to tell you. Some of you have some financial challenges coming up, and you need to get focused on that. But the first step is to begin, and this is the man's job, all right? It sounds backwards because we credit women with being emotionally savvy and men with being thick. Guys, because we are a little thick emotionally, it is our job to lead emotionally. And any women who's listening to this, you share this podcast with your husband, because I'm telling you guys, we need to learn how to be emotionally literate. That means we need to learn how to put words to our feelings. Oh, I know how to put words to my feelings. Do you really? How many times do we say things like, well, it feels like that could be done better, when really what we're doing is we're using the word feel to describe a doing. The world works on be, do, have. Feeling, action, result. Guys, we tend to focus on action and not the feeling. So maybe instead of saying, I feel like that could be done better, we can say, I feel disappointed and sad when this happens because I know I could do better with that, right? That'd be like putting labels on our feelings, our actual feelings. We skip over the feelings and go to action. We got to first be emotionally literate. Next, once we get literate, we got to get fluent. Fluent means not only can I label my feelings, but I can express them. And not only can I express them, but I can develop an empathetic connection with my partner. Your wife is waiting for this. Now, you could just get divorced and go find some woman who thinks that you're empathetic and caring and rerun this whole tape that you just ran with your wife. But water seeks its own level. It's only going to get better if we change. That's true for you too, ladies. There are core steps to rebuilding emotional wealth in midlife. There's rediscovery. First, we want to rediscover that person we married. In there, somewhere, is that person we married, the person we made our vows to. That person, when we gave those vows, we saw them as so much more than they saw themselves, and they saw us as so much more than we saw themselves. And maybe we need to take an assessment. Maybe we had an expectation that they were going to be more than who they saw themselves in a way that they decided they didn't want to be. Maybe we need to let go of our expectation that they're going to be mommy or daddy or some perfect goddess or god. And maybe we need to reevaluate who they're becoming. My own wife is a freaking business powerhouse. She's strong. She's tough. And I sit there and I go, I wish she was more gentle with me. And she can be. But when she's business, she's all business, right? The truth is, I can't honor her for her strengths and then whine when she needs to change gears. I need to make it safe so that she can change gears. You see how that works? It's not that she's not being gentle, kind, and intimate with me. It's that I have not created a space where she feels safe enough to emerge. The only person I can change is me. Forgive me if I'm oversharing my own stuff, but guys, I want you to hear this. And ladies, I want you to hear this. All right. Sometimes we leave our partner in gray divorce because they didn't become who we thought they should be, instead of acknowledging who they have become, which is usually pretty freaking amazing, and accepting that. Maybe we need to rediscover who they have become also and embrace it, right? Love them, appreciate them. Reinvestment is the second part. Rediscovery, reinvestment, reimagination. Reinvestment is changing what we do with our time, changing the emotion behind our experience together, changing how we use money. So instead of getting things, we create experiences. We want to have experiences together. But the money will be gone and I have nothing to show for it. No, you will have experiences, and those experiences are what we build connection in. We built a lot of experiences with our kids. Why not build some experiences with your partner? And then reimagine, explore, what is this new purpose we're moving into? If we're going to show up as grandparents and helping our parents move on to whatever the next step is for them when they leave this world in a way that is graceful and caring and loving, who do we need to be to do that? Who am I being when I love my grandson or my granddaughter? Who am I being when my parent says something to me for the third time and I just love them for it anyway, even though I can't do anything about it? Who am I being? Not the person who walks out because the nest is empty and I suddenly feel isolated. That's someone else. Hope begins when couples stop mourning what's over and start imagining what's next. And that's what I'm challenging you to do. Now, Brad and Gwen came to us with this problem. I told you I'd get back to it. And they described their marriage as peaceful but pointless. Peaceful but pointless, meaning they didn't fight, but it was pointless. They were fading. We worked together with them first on just basic communication skills. We worked with Brad on getting in touch with his emotions. We worked with Gwen on helping him to do that. We worked on Gwen on focusing on understanding him because that's what he really wanted. And we worked on with Gwen on learning to respect him. But Brad needed to learn how to not only express his own emotions, he needed to learn how to receive Gwen's emotions. We worked with them on this and they became closer. They learned that success isn't just about what you have, it's about how you live together, how you experience one another. And their children saw the difference too. Their children were relieved that it wasn't about them anymore. They were relieved that they had rekindled their love and care for one another. They revisited their love story. They created new shared goals. They built new emotional routines. And 6 months later, Gwen said, for the first time in years, I'm not just his wife, I'm his partner again. And Brad smiled. He said, we didn't start over, we moved forward. And they saved themselves a ton of money, by the way. Even under the best circumstances, divorce is mad expensive. All right. So you got it. When the kids leave, everything changes and you need to be ready. If you're not sure what to do, come and call us. We join our relationship community, free relationship community called The Bridge. And you'll get tools, resources, a free call if you want it. You don't have to take it if you don't want it. There's about $700 or $800 worth of classes and information in there, tools that we use with couples that will help you too. And if you get the tools and you're not sure how to use them, again, schedule the call. I'll help you figure it out. Because I am on a mission to save 10,000 marriages in 10 years. Next episode, I forgot to tell you, go to our website to get that. Go to richinrelationship.com, richinrelationship.com. It's relationship. And the reason why it's not relationships is because it's about your relationship with yourself. It's about your relationship with the greater good, whatever that means to you. It's about your relationship with your partner, right? Each is a relationship. We need to think plural. We need to focus on each one at a time. Next episode, when love feels one-sided, how to spot and recover from emotional imbalance. Thank you for listening. Have an amazing day and an awesome tomorrow.